A ring on Belly's finger was supposed to be the promise of forever, but forever has just been ripped apart. What looked like the beginning of a fairy tale engagement has suddenly turned into heartbreak, betrayal, and a twist that no one could have seen coming. The future she dreamed of now lies in pieces, leaving fans stunned and desperate to understand. How did Belly's engagement shatter so suddenly, and what secrets are hiding behind this shocking turn of events? When Season 3 Episode 8 opens, the atmosphere is heavy with expectation. For weeks, everything had been building toward Belly's engagement, a moment that felt like the final step in her journey of choosing between the Fisher brothers and stepping into adulthood. The proposal had been a promise of stability, a sign that after all the chaos, she had finally found her anchor. Fans held their breath, watching her say yes, imagining the life she would now share with the one she chose. But within moments, the illusion of certainty begins to crack. Beneath the surface of smiles and celebrations, tension simmers, and something feels dangerously unstable. Belly herself begins to sense it. Her heart, which once beat with joy at the thought of being chosen, suddenly feels heavy with doubt. Every look exchanged at the engagement dinner carries unspoken words. Jeremiah's eyes, though filled with determination, are shadowed by insecurity. Conrad's silence cuts sharper than any argument. Laurel watches her daughter with quiet unease, as though she knows something Belly is still trying to admit to herself. What was supposed to be the happiest night of Belly's life instead feels like a storm gathering on the horizon. As the episode unfolds, cracks in the engagement begin to widen. Jeremiah's devotion is undeniable, but it's laced with desperation. He wants to prove he can be everything Belly needs, but in doing so, he overreaches, smothering her with promises and plans that she's not ready to accept. Belly tries to convince herself she's happy, she forces the smile, she tells herself she's certain, but deep down, an ache grows. The shadow of Conrad lingers in every corner, a reminder of unfinished love, of words left unsaid, of nights when silence spoke louder than declarations. And then comes the moment of fracture. A single confrontation, a single slip of truth, is enough to bring the fragile engagement crashing down. It isn't a dramatic explosion at first, it's a quiet reveal, a look of realization crossing Belly's face, as if she suddenly sees the path she's walking isn't hers. Jeremiah, desperate, tries to hold on, tries to remind her of the promises they made just days before. But the harder he clings, the further she slips away. And in that moment, fans realize what Belly herself cannot deny anymore: love built on fear of loss can never last. By the end of Section 1, we're left standing in the ruins of what should have been a dream. The ring on Belly's finger no longer feels like a symbol of forever, it feels like a chain. The fairy tale engagement that once made fans believe in happy endings now burns with the sting of betrayal and heartbreak. And the biggest question of all emerges: was this engagement doomed from the start, or is Belly finally waking up to the truth she's been running from all along? But here's the truth: engagements are not always about joy and happy endings. Sometimes, they are about fear, control, and decisions made too fast. Belly's engagement looked like the perfect moment on the surface, but beneath the smiles, there were cracks forming. Jeremiah's proposal wasn't just about love, it was about desperation. He had been living in the shadow of Conrad for too long, and in his heart, he knew Belly's feelings were still divided. Proposing wasn't only about making Belly his fiancée, it was his way of trying to lock her heart before it slipped away again. Belly, caught between emotions she didn't fully understand, said yes, but her answer carried more confusion than clarity. It was an answer driven by fear of losing stability, not the joy of finding certainty. And when a decision is made out of fear, it can never stand strong against the weight of truth. That truth would soon come crashing down, turning their engagement from a dream into a ticking time bomb. What makes this twist so heartbreaking is that Jeremiah truly believed he had won. He thought the ring meant security, that Belly would finally choose him once and for all. But love is not a contract, it cannot be sealed with a promise if the heart is not truly aligned. And Belly's heart was never steady, it was torn in two directions, no matter how hard she tried to hide it. Fans could feel it in every stolen glance, every moment of hesitation. The silence spoke louder than the words ever could. Conrad's presence was the storm that followed them everywhere. He didn't fight for Belly openly, but his quiet existence was enough to unravel everything. Jeremiah's fear of losing Belly to Conrad wasn't just paranoia, it was real. Because Conrad, even in his silence, had something Jeremiah never could: Belly's unspoken devotion. And no ring could erase that history. The engagement became a symbol of Jeremiah's desperation and Belly's confusion. And the moment it was announced, whispers began. People around them could see the truth they were refusing to face. Even Laurel, Belly's mother, sensed the tension. She knew her daughter wasn't glowing with the happiness of a bride-to-be, she was walking into something she wasn't sure she wanted. Laurel's silence said it all. She didn't argue, but her eyes held questions Belly couldn't answer. As the days passed, the cracks widened. Arguments surfaced over small things, but they weren't really about those little details, they were about the bigger truth no one wanted to say out loud. Belly loved Jeremiah, but she wasn't in love with him the way she was with Conrad. And Jeremiah, deep down, knew it. That knowledge ate away at him, turning his love into a fragile mix of devotion and insecurity. The shocking twist wasn't the engagement itself, it was the way it shattered under the weight of everything left unsaid. Fans will see that this wasn't just a broken promise, it was the breaking of illusions. Jeremiah's dream of finally being Belly's first choice was crushed, and Belly's hope of escaping her confusion collapsed with it. The engagement wasn't just a moment of happiness stolen away, it was a countdown to heartbreak. This is why episode 8 feels so explosive. Every conversation, every glance, every silence becomes heavy with meaning. The audience knows what Jeremiah refuses to admit, that sometimes, love doesn't survive just because you want it to. Sometimes, the harder you hold on, the faster it slips through your hands. And that is exactly what makes the shattering of Belly's engagement not only shocking, but inevitable. But the engagement twist does not stop with Belly's heartbreak, because the storm of secrets is only just beginning. As the news spreads through Cousins Beach, whispers of betrayal echo everywhere. Everyone wants to know the same thing: was this engagement always a lie? Or did Belly step into a promise she was never truly ready for? These questions hang heavy in the air, poisoning what should have been a celebration of love and turning it into a battlefield of truth and lies. Jeremiah, the boy who once promised Belly forever, is now caught in the chaos of his own choices. His silence screams louder than words, and Belly can feel every unspoken truth slicing through her heart. Did Jeremiah truly love her enough to stand by this engagement, or was he clinging to her as a shield against his deepest fears? The engagement ring on her finger no longer feels like a bond of love, it feels like a chain, dragging her deeper into a storm she never asked for. And then comes Conrad. His presence at the shattered engagement creates an unbearable tension, one Belly cannot escape. His eyes, filled with pain and longing, seem to tell her everything she has tried so hard to forget. Was the engagement Belly's way of running from Conrad's shadow, or was it her attempt to finally silence the voice inside her heart that still beats for him? Every glance, every unspoken word between them, makes the broken pieces of this engagement cut even deeper. But the story doesn't just belong to Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad, because every choice she makes ripples outward, pulling others into the storm. Laurel, Belly's mother, is forced to watch her daughter repeat the same mistakes she once made, mistakes born of rushing into promises too quickly, of trying to heal old wounds with fragile new bonds. Laurel's silence speaks volumes, as if she knows that Belly's engagement was never built on the solid ground of truth. And now, watching her daughter's happiness shatter, she fears history is repeating itself. The beach house, once filled with laughter and memories of summers past, now feels like a cage where secrets are closing in. Every corner whispers of moments when love seemed simple, but now those echoes are drowned out by lies, heartbreak, and betrayal. What was supposed to be a promise of forever has become a mirror reflecting everything that is broken, everything that cannot be mended. And as the night stretches on, the question remains, was this engagement doomed from the start? Or was it shattered by the truths no one was brave enough to speak aloud? Belly's engagement shatters like glass under pressure, but the true storm is only beginning. After Jeremiah's breakdown, Conrad's silence, and Laurel's chilling confrontation with her daughter, the beach house that once symbolized warmth and comfort is now drowning in secrets. Every corner of Cousins feels haunted by whispers of betrayal and unfinished love. And in the middle of it all, Belly finds herself asking a question she never wanted to face: has love turned into a cage instead of freedom? The night grows heavier. And with it, the weight of decisions. Jeremiah sits alone by the fire pit, his head in his hands, replaying every moment he thought would secure Belly's heart forever. He remembers the laughter, the promises, the stolen kisses under the summer stars, and now, all of it feels like ash slipping through his fingers. To him, Conrad has always been the ghost between them, the one thing he could never erase, no matter how hard he tried. Jeremiah's pain is raw, and it burns with the fire of a love that feels stolen from him before it even had the chance to last. Conrad, meanwhile, isolates himself upstairs, pacing his room like a prisoner trapped in memories. His silence is not just about protecting Jeremiah or respecting Belly's choices, it's about fear. Fear that if he opens his heart again, it will destroy everything. Fear that if he speaks, Jeremiah will never forgive him. And yet, when he closes his eyes, he sees only Belly, the girl who taught him what love could mean, the girl he never truly let go of. His silence is his punishment, but also his shield. For Conrad, this love is both salvation and destruction, and he knows whichever path he takes, someone will bleed, and then there's Belly, torn in half by emotions she cannot name. She once believed engagement meant security, that saying yes to Jeremiah would silence her doubts. But the closer she stands to the future, the more the past rises to claim her. The smile Jeremiah longs for never quite reaches her eyes, because part of her heart still belongs to someone else. She hates herself for it, yet she cannot deny it. The engagement, instead of proving her strength, exposes her weakness. And Belly knows the truth, she cannot give Jeremiah her whole heart, no matter how desperately she wishes she could. Laurel watches it all unfold from a distance, her mother's instincts sharpening with every passing hour. She remembers Susanna's dreams for Belly, for the boys, for love that was pure and everlasting. And now, looking at her daughter's breaking engagement, Laurel sees history repeating itself, hearts tangled, promises broken, wounds too deep to heal. She fears for Belly, not because she doubts her strength, but because she knows how devastating it can be when love is chosen for the wrong reasons. In her silence, Laurel makes a vow: she will not stand by and watch her daughter sacrifice herself. To avoid hurting someone else, the tension finally cracks when Jeremiah, unable to hold back his fury, storms into Conrad's room. His words are sharp, trembling with rage and heartbreak. "You've always taken everything from me, why should she be any different?" Conrad stands frozen, unable to defend himself, because deep down he knows there's truth in Jeremiah's accusation. Belly overhears the confrontation, and in that single moment, the illusion of her engagement crumbles completely. She sees not two boys fighting for her love, but two brothers on the edge of destroying each other forever. And suddenly, she realizes, her decision isn't just about who she loves, it's about whether this family can survive the weight of her choice. What was once a love triangle now feels like a ticking time bomb, ready to explode. The shattered engagement is not the end, it is the spark. Because from this point forward, every step Belly takes will either mend the broken pieces or scatter them beyond repair. And as summer draws to its close, one truth becomes impossible to ignore: in order to love one, she may have to lose the other. And that loss will change everything, but just when the storm seems unbearable, fate delivers another shocking blow, one that no one, not even Belly, could have predicted. Whispers begin to spread that Jeremiah has been keeping a truth hidden, a truth that cuts deep into the foundation of trust between them. For Belly, who has already sacrificed so much to hold on to love, this revelation feels like betrayal crashing down on top of heartbreak. She thought she had lost everything, but now she realizes she never truly knew the person she was about to marry. Her engagement isn't just broken, it's shattered beyond repair. Jeremiah, desperate and cornered, tries to explain himself. He insists that his choices were never about lies, but about fear of losing Belly, fear of repeating the mistakes that had already haunted his family, fear of never being enough. But every word he speaks feels too late, too hollow. The damage is already done, and Belly's heart, though strong, can no longer carry the weight of broken promises. The girl who once dreamed of forever now stares into a future she never asked for, a future where love feels like a curse rather than a blessing. Meanwhile, Conrad's silence has turned into action. After holding back for so long, he steps forward, determined to no longer let love slip through his fingers. His confession isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, but it is raw, it is honest, and it slices through the chaos like a knife. For Belly, his words awaken every memory, every touch, every glance they once shared. Yet, in the same breath, those words remind her of the pain he caused when he walked away. The question rises once more: can a love that has been shattered be rebuilt? Or will it always carry the cracks of the past? Laurel watches her daughter with a mother's heavy heart. She knows Belly must make her own choices, even when they lead to heartbreak. But she also sees something Belly cannot yet admit, that within all this pain, Belly is changing. The girl who once measured love in smiles and summer nights is becoming a woman who understands its cost. Every broken piece of her heart is also shaping her into someone stronger, someone braver. And perhaps that is the real twist, not the shattered engagement, not the hidden truths, not even Conrad's confession, but Belly's awakening. Yet, nothing feels settled. Instead, the story ends this chapter in chaos, leaving questions that burn too fiercely to ignore. Is this the true end of Jeremiah and Belly, or just another storm they will try to survive together? Has Conrad finally reclaimed the chance he let slip away, or has too much damage already been done? And most of all, will Belly ever believe in love again, or has this summer marked the end of innocence forever? The shattered engagement isn't just a twist in the story, it's the breaking point that will shape everything that comes after. The night after the shattered engagement feels like a silence that could swallow everything whole. Cousins Beach, once filled with laughter, bonfires, and stolen kisses, now feels like a place of broken promises. Belly sits alone, her ring no longer on her finger, her heart heavier than ever before. For the first time, she realizes that love is not just about butterflies and late-night confessions. Love demands trust, stability, and choices that can stand the test of time. And in that moment, she begins to see her future not as a picture-perfect romance, but as a journey she must take with courage, whether alone or with someone who truly stands by her. Meanwhile, Jeremiah watches her from afar, torn between heartbreak and anger. He had believed this moment would be theirs forever, that Belly's yes would seal their fate. But with one truth exposed, the foundation of everything they shared feels cracked beyond repair. He doesn't just fear losing Belly. He fears losing himself, the version of Jeremiah who believed love was enough to heal every wound. And then, there's Conrad, silent, distant, yet everywhere in the background. The storm may have destroyed the engagement, but it also pulled him back into the center of Belly's heart. Fans have waited, season after season, to see if Conrad's quiet love could finally cut through the chaos. Now, as Belly's world collapses, Conrad's presence feels less like a shadow and more like an unspoken promise. The question is, will Belly see it, or will she run from it once again? Laurel, Belly's mother, becomes the silent witness to all of this. Her daughter's pain, her daughter's confusion, reminds her of her own past choices, the ones that carved scars she still carries. She knows that Belly must walk through this fire to find her truth. But as a mother, watching her daughter's heartbreak is the hardest thing she has ever faced. Her role now is not to guide, but to stand by, letting Belly decide if love is worth the risk, even when it shatters. And so, the season leaves us with questions that burn deeper than any answer could satisfy. Is Jeremiah's love strong enough to survive betrayal? Can Conrad finally break the chains of silence and show Belly what he has held inside for so long? And most of all, will Belly choose love, or will she choose herself? This shocking twist is not just about a broken engagement, it is about what comes after. The moment when the dream crumbles, and you are forced to decide whether to rebuild or to walk away. For Belly, for Jeremiah, for Conrad, and for every fan watching, Season 3 Episode 8 is not an ending. It is the spark of something greater, something raw, something real. The shattered engagement has opened the door to a future no one saw coming, and the journey is only just beginning.